Look, have mercy on me.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of On the Bluff. I'm your host, Christian Fowler. Joining me, as always, my co-host, Gabe Coon. Gabe, what's up?
Not much. It's episode. What episode is it? What number?
69.
So, what does that translate to in English?
69.
It's episode 69
Nice,
of On the Bluff.
nice. Hell yeah. Welcome in episode 69 of On the Bluff. Man, what's happening, brother? I'm good. I'm hanging in there.
You're good?
Hanging in there. I had a very chill weekend.
Yeah.
Watched
crazy?
the Tigers get absolutely skull drug. I could use some expletives to explain what that was, but I'm not going to do that.
Hey, we're on YouTube. You can do whatever
and
you
then,
want.
I didn't really watch the All-Star break. Can we just, the NBA All-Star break is
So bad.
trash.
It's so bad.
It's terrible. If you're trying to, I mean,
If you're trying to
you
glean
have to do
anything,
you have to do mental gymnastics to try to make that passable. That is horrible TV.
Like, if I was an NBA player, I'd be like, just give me the week off.
3-point contest, cool.
Sure.
Steph versus Sabrina, cool. Everything else, just toss it in the trash and rethink it.
Yeah.
Mac McClung is a 2-time dunk champion.
Back to back.
How many times has he played in the NBA? Does anybody know?
Let me look. I'm
I don't know.
actually going to
Somebody
look
tell me
this
how
up.
many NBA games he's played.
I'm going to
Please,
actually look this
Let
up.
me know.
Not many.
Give me a second.
I watched Jaylen Brown. This is the most. I mean, that was terrible.
He got booed. Heavily.
I heard Shannon Sharp talking about it with Stephen A. Smith, and he goes, yeah, we've had, Aaron Gordon jumped over Taco Fall. Mac McClung jumped over Shaq. And Jaylen Brown jumped over Kai Cenat, who's already 3 feet tall, sitting down. He goes, what am I going to do with that, Stephen A? And I'm like, I agree with you, dude.
You're not wrong.
And then he covered his eyes, even though he's supposed to do that during the dunk. Everybody else was covering their eyes.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, God.
Mac McClung.
How many games?
His storied career has lasted. Give me a guess. How many games?
6.
I'm going to go 12.
You're both over.
3?
4.
Oh, God.
And he's won 2
Hell
slam dunk
yeah.
competitions.
Oh, my God. And you know what? I can't even blame him, though.
No,
it's
it's
just the
not his
state of
fault.
everything.
Not his fault.
Poor guy. They're just running him out there as like a circus sideshow.
And can I say something that might be sacrilegious in the NBA world?
Say something.
I'm really tired of the NBA Tonight guys on Inside the NBA. I think that show actually sucks ass now.
They don't watch the games. And then Kenny Smith, just what the hell was he doing this weekend?
Like, Ernie
Sabrina
Johnson
and
is
Steph
awesome.
actually competed really well. And Sabrina had 26 points from the NBA 3-point line. He's like, there's a reason they have a women's and a men's 3-point line. Just like you have a women's and a men's tee on a golf course. And I'm like, well, she just hit 26. She would have made the finals in the normal competition.
Didn't Dame win it with 26?
Yeah, like they had 26 in the initial round. That was the line to get through. She had 26 from the men's line, and he's like, there's a reason there's a men's and a women's tee.
Yeah, I can honestly say I did not watch a single second.
Reggie Miller was like,
any
you
of
just
that.
want her to play with dolls. I'm like, what the hell are y'all doing right now?
what is going
You're
on
embarrassing yourself.
right now?
And then Charles Barkley started talking about the homeless people in San Francisco.
He said he wants. Yeah.
He
Anyway.
called them what'd he say? He's like, those homeless crooks in San Francisco. I'm like, good God.
And then
you guys are just trying to dig yourself a hole. I mean, the product sucks already. Now the analysis sucks.
And then
What's going on here?
Speaking of analysis, to bring this back to Memphis, on Thursday night on the NBA TNT game, Milwaukee versus Memphis, Memphis trotted out their G League unit against Dame and Giannis and won the game.
Yeah.
In that game,
Oh, he said, could UConn beat
he
the
said
starting
UConn would skull drug
No,
the,
he didn't
the
say it,
Grizzlies.
but he's like, UConn would compete against the starting 5 of the Grizzlies. I'm like, dude,
You're crazy.
you just watched them beat the Bucks on national TV, and this is when you want to say that?
Yeah.
Like, if they got beat by 60, sure. Roll that line out there.
But
They
they
just
won.
beat Giannis and Dame.
Right.
I just don't think
Like,
that.
what the hell is
I
this?
just don't think that show is any good anymore at all. I just think it's kind of boring at this point.
Well, it's not boring. That's one thing it's not. They're funny. But that's it. I mean, they don't actually watch the games. or anything
Define
like that.
funny. I guess some people's version of funny is different than mine. Like, I'm just not into
They
it.
usually have fun, and they're funny at the expense of others.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. But sometimes that's funny to me sometimes.
Well, you're a sadomasochist, so you might be a sociopath.
I don't know.
What? Huh? Wait, you don't laugh sometimes at others' pain? Let's be honest. You watch comedy. People do that all the time.
I actually don't watch much comedy anymore. I think comedians these days are weirdo as hell. Honestly, I think comedy is in a really weird place right now. Honestly,
As far as movies or like stand-up?
Stand-up. I think stand-up comedy
is by far the best it's ever been.
I think it's
disagree.
hilarious.
I disagree.
It's wonderful.
Do you get are you like, okay, and I swear I'm not trying to sound like freaking,
Are you going to ask me if I'm a
snowflake?
Are you going to ask me if I'm a snowflake?
No, do you get offended by it? Is that where we're?
I just don't think it's funny. I think that there
That's
is
offensive.
No.
I don't find it funny. It's offensive.
There are one of the things, like when you used to listen to old comedians, guys, they would talk about things that were just like, not amateur, but almost like easy pickings, right? Like this is just easy to talk about.
Do you like
Easy.
Eddie Murphy Raw? Say yes, because I know you did. Say yes. Say yes, Kitty.
Huh?
Did you like Eddie Murphy Raw? Say yes.
I'm on the phone. I'm busy over here.
He's pleading the fifth. See, I don't know, man. I find it hilarious. I think there's people that don't like Shane Gillis. There's people that don't like Dave Chappelle. People that don't like Bill Burr. I find all of them hysterical.
Yeah. Tom Segura, hilarious.
Tom Segura, hilarious.
Bert, hilarious.
I'm sorry. Whatever.
I'm a snowflake. I'm sorry.
I hate to say it. Even okay. I'm gonna say this. Oh
Say
God, I don't know if I should say it.
We're here.
I don't know if I should say it.
It's okay.
This is a safe place. Nobody watches.
Yeah, nobody-
Okay, it's a safe place until I actually blurt this out of my mouth.
Maybe we'll agree with you.
Louis C.K.
Louis C.K. is hilarious.
But like, you remember 2018?
Oh yeah, I
2019?
mean, hey,
remember the whole thing?
I remember the whole thing.
He had a bit recently, or I guess it was 2021 or 2. He put one out on Hulu, and he was talking about the whole thing.
Right.
And he's like, everybody has their things. You know how bad it is that you know my thing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like he's poking at it, and he's
Right.
admitting it
he's,
up front.
He's funny. Ron White, I love Ron White. Not a Ron White fan.
No, I'm fine with Ron White. I grew up, listening to Ron White because my mom liked Ron White.
Yeah. Blue collar comedy. Is that what it was?
He's in not great health, is he? I don't
No,
think
I
he had to
think he's in
stop
the best.
drinking.
I think he's in the best health
But
he's ever been
he had to
in.
stop drinking.
Yeah, he's not
Yeah.
drinking anymore.
He had some big liver issues.
Yeah, but he still does other things.
Yes.
What do you mean? For
Still gets down.
He's one of the ayahuasca people. He did ayahuasca.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he's big on the hallucinogens.
When are we going to do an on the Bluff ayahuasca trip?
Never. Not one time ever.
I'm okay.
I'm setting something
okay.
up for the three of
All
us
right.
to go to.
We will let you go.
You want that mind to wander, huh, Kenny?
Woo-wee.
My mind is a scary enough place. I don't need anything else to help.
Kenny's offended by modern day comedy, but he wants to do ayahuasca.
I think he was saying comedy is too intellectual for him.
Oh,
Yeah, Shane Gillis is an intellectual.
I was.
Get out of my
That's fair.
face.
That's fair.
yeah. That is comedy for bros right there.
That is bro.
the
that
definition
absolutely
of bro
is.
comedy.
Okay, that's a great definition. That's what annoys me. I'm not a fan of the bro comedy right now. Like
Neither
I just
is my
think
brother.
it's too
My
bro.
brother hates it. Hates it.
I just think it's not funny. I just
Kenny-
don't
I was in a football locker room growing up. You can't hold it against me.
No. Kenny's
It's
just a
like
hater.
I laugh at things like that.
Kenny's a hater.
Now, to be fair, I'll give this to Kenny. It does, lean to your worst intuitions, like your worst things, the worst things that you find funny.
Yeah. But the thing is like that intrusive thought comedy, everybody kind of has that. A little bit.
Yeah, whether you want to admit it or not,
Right.
It's there.
To an extent, it may not be
Yes,
a massive extent, but
Yeah.
everybody's got crazy thoughts, and it's just somebody on a stage saying those thoughts out
and
loud,
making you uncomfortable.
right? But also kind of making you comfortable because you're like, I thought that too, but
I thought I was nuts for thinking that.
right, exactly. And then there's 300 people around you laughing. You're like, okay, I feel validated.
I'm not alone.
I'm not alone.
Dapping them up.
You're like, dude,
All right.
nice.
What are your intrusive thoughts?
Lots of high fives in the crowd.
Right.
What are your intrusive thoughts about this Tigers basketball team that you want to let the world know?
I don't know how far we can go into
Come
this.
on, no, let's go. Let it rip. I'm tired.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
tired.
All right, let's do it.
Let it rip.
Let's do it. This team was top 10 in the country several weeks ago. They are now nowhere near that, obviously. And this is, let's call it what it is. This is embarrassing.
Yeah.
This is 100% embarrassing. This is a team that had 4 wins against top 25 opponents. They look like one of the better teams in the country. They look like they had every opportunity to do everything every Memphis basketball team since 2008 has been trying to do. Did I just say the wrong year? 2006?
2008.
8. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yes, you got it.
Yeah,
You're
there
good.
we go.
You're good, buddy.
They had those opportunities. Everything was on the table for this team. They were one of the best teams in the country. They had talent at every position. They had depth pretty much at every position. And you fast forward, and the wheels have completely fallen off. Even last week, after 3 consecutive wins, neither one of us felt very good. We felt better. It was more positive. But even talking here last week, talking on your show last week, it was like, maybe, but let's see. Well, we'll see what happens. So we're not going to be optimistic. We called this week like the biggest week for them the rest of the year against North Texas and SMU, 2 games they were not favorites in. And they embarrassed themselves in both of those games, specifically the SMU game. Like, the North Texas game had a lot riding on it. And you felt like if that was a game they won, they could have used that to catapult, yada, yada, yada. Well, they lose that game, and then they go completely the other direction.
They lost by a combined 37 points these last 2 games.
Right. And it's like they didn't care.
They
Like,
quit.
The SMU game, they completely quit.
They quit. It was 106-79. Of course you quit.
Yeah.
And with 15 minutes left in the second half, we're sitting here with a 20-point deficit, and you're just saying, I had to change a channel.
Yeah.
Because not only was it embarrassing, it's so hard to watch this team play basketball right now.
Yeah, it's ugly.
I put out a tweet, and I swear I stand by this. I said, if you're not insane from watching this team play basketball, you're beating the odds.
That's fair.
It literally makes you insane watching them play. Because you see Javon Quitterly, you've seen him play at multiple stops, be a good player. You see David Jones, who's been really solid this year. You see Jaquan Walton, who you had high hopes for. You see, Nick Jourdain, who was at one point this year the most efficient player in college basketball. And you see them all just playing miserable basketball, maybe besides David Jones. But David Jones, by the end of that game, I swear to you, and he doesn't play a whole lot of defense anyway, but he was just getting film. I swear to God, that's what he was doing. He's taking every shot down the floor, especially at the end of that first half. But you want to know my intrusive thought?
Yeah.
And we've gone 6 years, right? 2 NCAA tournament teams, 1 NCAA tournament win. Want to know the craziest stat, though? Since Cal left, this program's only had 3 tournament wins.
It's crazy.
Isn't that nuts? But Penny has one of those. I'm 6 years in, and when Penny was brought in, yes, there was a money issue with Tubby Smith, and you had to fill the stands again and get people to buy in. I get that. But Penny Hardaway, it's like, okay, he understands the city. He understands recruiting. He understands this program. He's going to build this program. I am at this point watching the way that these rosters are coming together, watching the lack of understanding of these players of the city and of the team and the system that Penny wants to run. And I find myself truly questioning if Penny Hardaway is a program builder. I don't think he is right now.
Yeah.
Things could flip around. He could change his mindset on everything. But I don't think Penny Hardaway is a program builder, because what we're watching is guys just churn in, churn out, not really latch on to this city. Maybe last year we saw that with Kendrick Davis and DeAndre Williams. But going into the next year, you don't really have a solid base unless David Jones comes back, which who knows if that's going to happen. But like, this program is at the spot where you're 18-8. You're not going to make the tournament in all likelihood unless you pull off the impossible at the AAC tournament. And then what do we have to look forward to next year? Because even if he recruits some great talent, everyone's going to meet it with skepticism and wonder actually what's going to happen. I downplayed this entire offseason, and I feel stupid for doing it, continuity and guys understanding the program they're on. I think it's become increasingly clear that's a big issue with this team and why people nationally were not ready to jump on board with this team because they didn't have enough continuity and they didn't really have guys in the locker room that you knew for certain were going to be dogs game in, game out.
Yeah.
Because this is their second or third stop. And that's my intrusive thought. Like, I'm questioning if Penny Hardaway can ever become the program builder we thought he could be.
I think that's completely fair because if you look at his tenure as a whole, it was always going to be a slow build.
Yes. He had to learn on the job.
From not only what was left over from the Tubby era, but also from a coach being in his first stint as a collegiate coach.
Yes.
He'd only coached at the high school level before that. 6 years in, back-to-back tournament years, one tournament win in those years. This was the tipping point season. And then you see the talent that was brought in, and you think, man, he's putting it together. Because last year, and I don't want to be too short-term memory, but for the most part, Penny did a hell of a coaching job last year. That team last year didn't have nearly as much talent as this team this year.
It just fit better with what he wants to do.
Exactly. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. So I don't know if I'm ready to say like Penny's a terrible coach and I'm not saying you're saying that, but you've seen it. You've seen that.
But
I'm saying you've seen people say these things, but to your point of program builder,
yes,
that's a different than a good coach.
Program builder is year after
longevity.
year. I know what to expect. I'm recruiting the right players, and we have consistency.
Right. And
there's not a level of consistency with this program.
So let's define a little bit of what a program builder is. You bring players in, you develop players, those players turn into stars, those players go on to the next level, you've got a new cycle behind them, and that is just cyclical throughout your tenure as a head coach.
Exactly.
Penny tried to do that in the beginning. He tried to bring in players and develop them, and those guys stay along, and he never really got over the hump with it. And so then last year, and he's said this publicly, he changed his style of recruiting and his philosophy on how you can have a successful team. Arena team is basically what he's saying he can have success with. Go get players, go handpick players from different schools, bring them in, ingrain them in the program. Boom, that's how you do it. You speed up success. But how does that really work? Because to your points, when you don't have a lasting culture, when you don't have developed talent behind those guys, when you don't have people that understand the program, the history, the culture, what they're playing for, the city they're playing in, they don't have any type of ties to a place.
Besides NIL money or something like that.
Right. Because that's just something that happens over time. We see kids all the time. They come from different places, but that becomes the second home. And you're not seeing that with these teams because they're rental teams. They're 1-2 year rentals. And so how do you build a program with guys that are in 1 year and out the next? It's not going to happen. And you say, well, how did it work last year? They went to the tournament. They really had a chance to make a deep run last year. There wasn't many 1 year. That was a mixed team.
Let's be clear,
culture guys.
Let's be clear about the head of the snake.
Right.
The two guys at the top. DeAndre Williams was die-hard Memphis. Cut and bleed Memphis blue.
Right.
Gave a damn, love Penny. Kendrick Davis, he had been at SMU. He'd played against Memphis.
Right.
He knew what it was about.
Right.
He'd played in Memphis several different times.
Right.
Had a great relationship with Penny. And he came. It was completely different. Those two guys at the top understood what it was about Memphis that they wanted to play in this city.
Right. And then you still had your returning guys.
And then you still had some guys. And and then you filled in the blanks with Keontae Kennedy and Elijah McCann and Demario Franklin.
Right.
But they had a good example set for them at the top. I fail to find going forward who sets that example. Like, I guess it's not clearly visible right now, But, like, you have to find guys that you just trust. And Alex Lomax was that guy for a long time.
Right.
And I think a lot of people this week have spent a lot of time, like, apologizing because he was a guy who always was going to lead by example, play the defense that Penny wanted, communicate at the highest level. Yeah, do the system, do it exactly how he wanted. But, like, going forward, I don't know who that person could be, and you could get them out of the portal, but then again, it's like I don't know, man. You're just at this weird inflection point with this program, and you're starting to realize some things that are scary. And I think too, when we talk about NIL and getting in transfer portal additions, the other concern I have is one, the transfer portal this year. The guys in the transfer portal are going to look at what happened this year with this team and be like, I don't know. Like, they're going to have second thoughts. And then also the people giving money.
Right.
Think about the donors right now. They're probably pissed off, at least a fair amount of them.
Yeah, because
I don't blame them for being pissed off. I get it.
There was a lot given to bring this team in.
And this was Penny's call. Penny had a call to action this entire offseason about, hey, we need more. We need to give more.
Right.
And they did. They ponied up. And it's not equaling what you thought it was going to equal.
Right.
So then I think there's this thought process behind some of the donors and the people behind the scenes losing faith in the thought process that Penny Hardaway has.
Yeah.
And that's just, again, we're at a weird spot. And I think the end of this season, going into this offseason, is going to tell us so much about the future of Penny Hardaway in Memphis.
Yeah. No, I think that's very well put. And to go a little bit more basketball philosophy on it, I think so many times, like in these modern days, that we forget basketball's still a team sport.
Yep.
I know we all want to celebrate individual players, and iso ball has become so popular, and that's really like the new wave. But at the end of the day, it's a team game.
Yep.
And if you don't have cohesion, you're not going to win, especially at the collegiate level. I think you can get away with it a little bit more in the NBA because if you have an elite star power, possibly. At the college level, you can have stars, but if you don't have cohesion, if you don't have team, then you're not going to do anything. You look at, and this is why I kind of question the rent-a-team style of trying to win a championship. You look at basketball champions. That still hasn't happened. We still haven't seen these elite.
They do get in transfers, but those transfers may stay for a couple years. But you do have freshmen that come
platoon,
like
team.
swap,
which
is what it's going to be going into next year, too.
Right? And it was into this year,
right?
And so I don't think at the college level, without continuity, without guys understanding the system and their teammates and what their coaches want. That's another thing. Coaching continuity, I think, is a big thing that has not been talked about. And under Penny Hardaway,
very tough for Penny.
It just hasn't been something that he's had, as a lot of coaching continuity. I think that is obviously big with program building and establishing a culture. But you got to have guys that are bought in, and not to an idea of, yes, you get all of us together, we can win a national championship, but to each other and to the system and to the city. And this all sounds cliche and a little goofy, but like look around college basketball and who wins championships and who are the best teams in the country, and that's what they are. I think you, like you're saying, you can have a mixture of bringing in a couple of missing pieces, but you got to have a nucleus.
Yes,
and we did. All offseason was, the one thing is continuity.
I downplayed it though.
We did. No,
to
we
be
did.
fair.
No, we did.
I am as guilty as anybody in downplaying
because there's not a lot of continuity, but.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of continuity, so who knows?
Yes.
It was always, but look at what they had.
The talent, holy
but
shit.
Look at what they have, but you have to have a nucleus. This team had no nucleus coming into the year, and it has clearly allowed them to completely go off the rails because they have nobody to rein them back in. There isn't that sense of pride within themselves as a team to bring it back together.
Of the University of Memphis.
Right.
It's strange. And here's the other thing that I want to bounce this off you.
Okay.
Because I think I've talked about good versus great coaches, right? There are good coaches that have a system that they want to run. And they'll take these pieces of personnel and they'll make that personnel conform to their system. Great coaches, of course, are the ones that go get the personnel. They pick out these guys that they like. And then they'll take that personnel and they'll say, hey, you do this well, you do this well. We're going to change some things up. We're
Right.
going to fit this system to you.
Adaptability.
I'm sorry, man. I keep watching this with Penny, and he wants this defensive culture and the thought process behind it to just sort of be his defensive system. And this year has been very telling to me that he has no adjustment off that.
Yeah.
There's no real adjustment. And listen, that can work for some. Like, I look at a guy like Tony Bennett at Virginia. He is going to recruit what he wants to fit his system. And they may have some up years, they may have some down years. He's won a natty, so you give him credit for that, but he did lose to a 16 seed as well. But you're going to have up and down years. But I find that the most sustained success is from coaches like Bill Self. They get really good players. Don't get it twisted. He gets the best talent in the country. But depending on his personnel, he can change around what he wants to do. The past few years, it's been Jalen Wilson and guys like O'Shea Agbaji, yada, 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 keeping going on, so on and so forth. I don't think this team that he has at Kansas is great this year, as great as it has been in the past, but he's got a top 10 team. And what is he doing? He's feeding Hunter Dickinson. He's being big friendly.
Yep.
He's switched out around their philosophy to make Hunter Dickinson the sticking point of their offense.
Yeah.
And he's getting 18 and 10 and a bunch of blocks and all these other things. So, like, I just feel like if you want to be the best coach you can possibly be, you have to be moldable. You have to be able to change with the times and the talent and the personnel that's given to you. And I don't see that from Penny, man.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
Yeah.
He wants it to be one way, his way. Now, who knows? And I'm not betting on this by any stretch of the imagination. There can be an inflection point of Penny saying, okay, I got this wrong. Now I need to bring myself to the drawing board, and I need to change myself and improve as a coach. I think there's two different things. He can do that, or he can say, I didn't bring in the right guys. I got to find more dogs and fit my system, which I think is more likely.
Yeah.
Those are the two options going forward, but I think the better of the two options is to mold yourself and be more mendable as a coach. And it's just frustrating, man. It's frustrating for me to watch.
Yeah.
Because I think this entire year, when they've been struggling, it's fitting a square peg into that round hole.
Agreed.
It's trying to make a high-octane offensive team, theoretically, into this defensive juggernaut, and it's just never going to happen. Yet he keeps doing the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, this team has totally squandered their opportunity. Completely.
Gone. 4 games in 4 days is all they got.
Yep.
And then can I ask you this?
Yeah.
And Kenny, I want you involved in this as well. I know I'm not the only one questioning if they got an NIT bid, if they would take it, right? I know it sounds crazy on the surface, because it's like, should we really have that high of a view of ourselves, whatever. But I do question if they would actually go to the NIT if they were given that opportunity.
It's an interesting thought. It's definitely an interesting thought, because you think about where this team...
Because that's, in all likelihood, that's what they're getting.
Yeah. Barring a win in the AAC tournament, that is where they are going. Yeah. They're not going to be an at-large team. That's gone. There's no possible way for that to happen. They would have to win the conference tournament. But, I mean, you think about it, all these veteran guys that came to play for the NCAA tournament, for the NCAA championship, where they were just a short time ago, I don't know. It wouldn't shock me if they declined the bid.
Kenny, what do you think on this?
I don't know, man.
Am I going overboard thinking that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that
pride would set in, and they're like, all right, we got it.
I think you absolutely. I mean, you saw the way that that 2020 team. Is that the team that won the NIT?
2020.
19.
No,
19.
It would be 19.
Oh, it was 20?
2019, they didn't have a postseason
That's
because
right.
of COVID.
Yeah, 2020.
That's right.
They celebrated that win, and I know it's.
But that was a young team, Kenny.
No, it was Landers and Lester and
yeah, I know that was DJ and them's like sophomore year. That was a young team.
No, I mean I get that, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think necessarily that the Tigers are in a position to decline any kind of postseason play.
I get that, but I just wonder who will want to be involved with that.
Who's
like
gonna,
a
who's
bowl
gonna
opt. It almost feels like Javon Quinterly, Jaquan Walton.
Jordan Brown.
Like it just feels like you'd have like these opt-outs. I don't
Right.
know. That's just where my head's at. I don't know.
I
Because
can
it's
see
just
it.
it's all spiraled out of control. And I just don't know if those guys who are done with their college careers or really want to stick around to play the NIT.
No,
Especially Javon Quinterly.
I don't disagree with that at all. 0%. All right. Too much negativity.
No,
Every
man,
time.
but it's
Too much
relativity. I mean, you're being
no, it
real,
is.
man.
No, it is.
Like,
I'm not saying.
I know. Listen, there's.
I'm not saying let's go be positive
There's
right
a
now.
faction of every fan base who will always tell you you're being a hater when you're being real.
Oh yeah, I was.
And I've just gotten over that. You have to get over that. And I do think those people are a lot quieter these days.
No, you've misunderstood me. I was saying there's a lot of negativity, so let's transition out of this and get to the hot three, so we don't have to be negative anymore. Because we're not going to stay on the University of Memphis basketball program and have any positivity to really talk about. So, in that vein, let's get out of the negativity.
Okay.
Kenny's going to spin this around for us. We're going
Nice.
to take a break. We're going to come back with the hot three, and we're going to be a little bit more positive.
Good.
Hopefully.
Good.
Woo! It has been quite the
I
break.
feel like that Vince McMahon meme where it's like,
Yeah,
that's me right now.
holy
it, dude.
Toledo. TJ, we can't have 10% beers when we eat dinner at 5 o'clock and record at 11. Oh,
So I'm still waiting for Bada to get back with us there.
dear
So did you have any hard-hitting questions?
God. That'd be great. Great.
We got the commercial break.
Supposedly there's a video of Drake going around the internet, and Kenny just sent me a still shot. It's going to take a minute to recover from that.
That's what she said.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
But I just want to ask the question: should Derrick Rose retire?
I mean,
I'm being dead serious. It's not nothing against the guy.
I know you are. That's why it sucks.
I'm asking a legit question because he can't stay injury free. I don't know if it, maybe an off season helps.
Magic 8 Ball. All signs point to yes.
Sheesh. That's the sad part of it too.
It's again, like I know a lot of people want him to do the Udonis Haslam thing. Like that's the extent of Derrick Rose at this point. It's
Okay.
like he still showed. I mean, he had a nice move under the basket tonight, but it's man, like he's always hurt for a reason, dude. His body's just it doesn't have it, right? And
Yeah.
if he can fit into Udonis Haslam type role where he's just the bench guy and the vet for the team, then that's awesome.
Tune in to the Grizz 901 postgame show, live after every Grizzlies game on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
What would happen if you took the G&G Grizzlies against
I've seen that.
the right
I've
now
seen that the last 4 years.
Grizz next gen? I'm like, bro, this team would sweep the shit out of
Oh my
Zebo
God.
and them. Let me cut my emotions off and just go look at some numbers, right? Because people are like, oh man, that team did way more than this team did in the playoffs. Like, I remember being disappointed a lot, and I love the core four, man. The core four was a super fun run, bro. But like, that team got put out in the first round 4 times, and they were 4-7 in playoff series. Had a losing record overall in the playoffs. Don't act like there was just some super good team that was like,
Yeah.
like bro, like stop,
They were
bro.
never legit contenders. It was only 1 year that I thought that they legit could have
The
won
year
championship.
when they got Jeff Green, is they had the best record in the
Yep.
league for a long time. The core four Grizzlies grit and grind era would not be a good team in today's NBA, bro. The way teams move the ball now, oh, you getting your ass up out of here like quickly. Oh, you got 2 bigs on the court. Oh, and one of them came to the end to pick and roll. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Bring your ass out. You getting swept, bro.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. It's been super
Said, yeah.
negative.
Yes.
Lots of realness.
Realness.
But it's time. Sorry, my energy's down tonight, guys, because just a little bit annoyed.
I you know what, Kenny, I get it. I understand.
But you know what? We're going to talk about some actual good college basketball.
Let's do it.
Oh, there we go. Let's do it.
Let's get into the hot three. Topic number one. ESPN put out power rankings for last week in college basketball. They put out their top 10. I think they did more than that, but I'm just going to go top 10 with y'all. Their top three, and obviously Purdue lost against
Ohio State.
Ohio State beat them, which
Nuts.
it's kind of a
Chris Holtman got fired last week.
it's kind of a weird situation, right? Like, hey, sometimes when you fire a coach, the team plays well. I don't know. Hey, I don't want to throw it out there.
Okay, Kenny. Hey, I hear you.
I'm just joking. Don't get on me, please. Everybody's gonna freak out. But Ohio State obviously beat Purdue. But in this power rankings, they had UConn number 1, obviously, Purdue number 2, and Houston number 3. Those three teams are uber legit, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Which team have you been most impressed with so far this year?
UConn. And I don't even have to take time with that one.
No.
I'll say Purdue's resume is nuts. They're 15-2 in the quad one, which is crazy. But UConn is just, man, they have everything you need. They have the shooting that you want. They have the bigs with Donovan Clingan sort of being the guy. Against Marquette, they won 81-53. He had 17, 10, and 2.
And he was 7 of 8 from the floor.
He was ridiculous from the floor.
Yeah.
They have everything you need, and I think that Danny Hurley, man, we
It's a
talk about
wild boy,
coaches.
man.
He's crazy.
He's a wild
But when we
fella.
talk about coaches at the top of college basketball, man,
He's
do
right
not
there.
leave him out.
No.
Don't leave him out anymore.
You can't.
And speaking of program building, he has done that, and he has taken some time. He's had some continuity. He's brought in transfers that had a little bit of continuity that have stayed for a few years. That's a program builder right there.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. UConn's
And of course, Kelvin too.
right.
Oh my gosh.
UConn's been extremely impressive, but Houston also has because there was still a little bit of, they lost some things. What are they going to be like this year? Because they did lose some of their best players from last year's team, and they are steamrolling.
I think it's, to me, UConn, Purdue in that order. Space. Houston, space, rest of everybody else.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. Because like you said with Purdue, I know right now optically we could be like, okay, you could put Houston ahead of them now. But when you look at their resume and just what they've done overall this season, it's hard not to consider them right up there with UConn. And if they have Zach Edey and he's healthy, they're going to be a hard team to beat. They're going to be a tough day at the office because when you got a 7'4" center, that's tough.
And they're playing like their guards are playing good ball.
That's the
finally.
difference
That's the thing. Braden
between
Smith,
last year.
Fletcher
Yeah.
Lawyer, they're actually playing good ball.
Right.
And they're not turning the ball over at a high rate, and they can still use Zach Edey in the same way.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between them a year ago versus now.
Right. Because that was the big knock on them was
Their
guard
guard
play.
Yep. All right, so those three are obviously contenders, right? So UConn, Purdue, Houston, they could easily be in the championship game. Honestly, I was saying this during the break. UConn and Houston national championship game would just be nutso. It would be a war in every sense of the word. It'd be crazy. All right, but let's go through this. I want to go through 4 through 10 with y'all in their power rankings, and I want you to tell me, are they pretenders or are they contenders?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Number 4 is the Arizona Wildcats. They are 20-5. Previous ranking was 5. This week they play Washington State and Washington. I don't know what they did, but
I'm going to say, just for the sake of the unknown, I like Tommy Lloyd. I like what he's built at Arizona. Gonzaga hasn't been the same since he left Mark Few.
Right.
I'm going to say Pretenders, though, because the Pac-12 sucks. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Yep.
And you have, like, Washington State is second in the Pac-12 right now. USC and UCLA are complete no-shows. So it's more of an unknown with Arizona. And they lost to Florida Atlantic earlier in the year.
Yep.
So I've seen they're capable of losing games like that. So I'm going to say Pretenders because I think their record and their resume is boosted up by a really bad Pac-12.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And we're probably, over the next 5 or 6 teams, you're probably going to hear a lot of that because it has been a lot of up and down for these teams. They get the big wins against bad opponents. They beat up on inferior opponents. And then sometimes in those big games against quality teams, they show up. And then other times they
fall
don't.
flat.
So I'm fair with calling Arizona a pretender at this point.
All right, number 5, our good friends from the East, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Ooh.
They are 19-6. They were previous ranking was 8th. They smacked Arkansas and Vanderbilt. Are they pretenders or are they contenders?
I'd call them a contender.
I'm going to go contender as well, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go contender. Dalton Connect is a freakazoid.
Yeah, he is.
And he does it with great efficiency, and he doesn't turn the ball over, and he can get his teammates involved. I think, like, when you look defensively, they're phenomenal. And this is one of the best offensive teams, I think,
that
they've had.
that Rick
ever.
Barnes has
Yeah.
had.
Under Rick Barnes. And Vescovi's still solid.
Yep.
Zy Ziegler is.
Oh yeah, Zakai Ziegler.
Zakai, sorry.
It was kind of
Zakai, yeah.
interesting though because the start of the year was Zakai Ziegler. I thought he was going to be the reason they were held back because he had the big injury last
the
year.
Right.
ACL.
So he was playing kind of slow and not like himself, but he's picked it up. He's not getting knockaways. He's playing pretty efficient on the offensive end now because he's back sort of at full strength.
Yeah.
So I think they're a contender. I really do.
Yeah, I think they're good.
But the Tennessee freaking track record
It's
under
what
Rick
but
Barnes.
even this year, there's still been a little bit of that roller coaster act.
Yeah, but I again with Rick Barnes teams, if he can get the offense to match the defense to at least a certain extent,
Right.
I can call them a contender. But we know that they just tend to fall short in
Yep.
pressure moments.
I'll say this. I watch a lot of Tennessee games because they're honestly a very fun team to watch. Dalton Connect is one of the only guys, the only clear, obvious pro level basketball player in college basketball
That's fair.
that uses pro level movement
Yeah,
That's fair.
good footwork. That whole thing.
and can make it work in a college basketball game that the rules do not allow for that kind of movement to work.
Isn't it nuts though?
He's
Northern
so-
Colorado.
So talented, man.
Northern Colorado.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a 2-year player in Northern Colorado before he went to Tennessee?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Dude,
I'm like, damn, man. Holy hell.
Yeah.
That's
I'll tell you
impressive.
this, though.
That's a come up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
and I'll tell you this though, I think the linchpin for that Tennessee team to make a deep run,
Josiah Jordan James.
him too, if he can have his mid-range game, if he can, kind of gash those zones up, like because they're going to try to make them, they're going to zone them up and try to, because you can't stay in front of Zakai and you can't stay with Dalton. You got to try to zone them up the whole time. But I think Jonas Adu
Yeah.
is
He's a monster.
when he is on defensively, he is an eraser on every level.
Yeah.
And so I love the Tennessee team.
Yeah.
I think they're so good.
They're a very well balanced team.
All right, next.
Hold on.
Okay. All right.
Maybe we should have just done top 5. This,
Is this going to take too long?
We'll rapid fire.
Yeah,
All
we'll
right,
rapid fire
the
this.
top 5.
Yeah. Sorry, I knew I wanted to get to Tennessee because there was going to be a lot of Tennessee fans.
And we'll
that
go
listen
back
to
and
this.
forth. How about this? I'll
All right.
take 6. You
All
take
right, 6.
7.
Iowa State Cyclones 20-5. Gabe.
I'm going to say pretender. I'm not going to buy it yet. They're at the top of the Big 12 right now, but they're playing Houston in a big game tonight. So obviously tomorrow we'll have a final on that. So I think Houston's at home and they could take the top spot in the Big 12. I'm just going to say pretender for the simple fact that I think Iowa State has a lot of guys that haven't quite been able to get to these heights yet. So I'm just going to call them a pretender at this moment.
That's
All right.
fair.
Marquette Golden Eagles. Christian.
I struggle with this one because I love what Marquette has, and I know same thing like talking optically with what just happened to Purdue. They just got smashed by UConn, but I still like them.
They beat Kansas early in the year.
They beat Kansas. I still like Tyler Collect. Still like Cam Jones. I like what they have on the roster.
Who's their big? He's a stud, man. He can move all over the place.
Can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name right now. I'll look it up. You keep going.
But no, I mean, I think that's one of the. Here you go. You talking about Oso
Yes,
Ighodaro.
yes, Oso Ighodaro.
Yeah.
He can play.
Yeah. No, they've got. They
can run the floor,
They've
too.
got talent. They've got shooters. They've got guard play. Like, they are good in most levels. I think defensively sometimes they leave a little bit to be desired, but the games when they're on, they can score with pretty much anybody in the country.
Yeah. Cam Jones
So
from Memphis,
contender.
killer.
Contender. Yep.
Oh, wow. I thought you would. Oh, man, I'm surprised by that one. All right. Number 8, North Carolina Tar Heels.
I wanted this one.
Oh God, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna say Pretender for right now.
Really?
I disagree.
I
disagree,
just,
too.
I don't quite know how much I buy into them at this particular moment. Baycott I like as a big. If Harrison Ingram is a stud,
Yeah.
but I just have to see more experience when
RJ
you get into
Davis.
these situations.
Yep.
RJ Davis has the experience, but he also has the bad experience of last year.
Fair.
I'm just gonna say Pretender for now. But this is all these things are up for debate as we get close to the tournament.
Here's your team, Christian. Kansas Jayhawks. Pretender, contender.
I wish I would have got this one.
We should have switched.
Yeah, but go ahead.
I think I'm gonna go contender with
Okay.
them.
Wow.
I think I am.
I would have gone the other way.
You would have went
McCullough has to be good for them to be.
DeJuan Harris has to be good.
Right.
He's been hurt and stuff now.
Yeah, no, they do have caveats, but they have McCullough, they have Hunter Dickinson. Like, they still have the top end talent to do it.
It's just different.
It is different. Do they have to all do it on the same night for them to do it? Yeah, probably.
They're not an unreasonably good defensive team.
Right.
They're not
No.
an unreasonably good shooting team.
No, that's
and that's where I run into it. It's like, man, and I give Bill Self a shit ton of credit
For sure.
because you're bringing in Hunter Dickinson. He has Kenny and I just inside baseball. We talked about it before the show. He has not ran plays through the post at this rate since Cole Aldrich.
Yeah.
Like, it's been that long since he's done that because Joel Embiid was hurt and like in and out, and they didn't really use him at that rate. I think he was the 4th leading scorer on that team.
Yeah.
But for Bill Self to have this style of team and still have this level of success, you give him a lot of credit. And I don't know if you can ever. I'll give you contender. I would have said pretender just because I don't think they're actually.
But can
gonna
you
go that
ever
far.
completely
You can
count out
never rule
Kansas?
out Bill Self
Yeah.
in Kansas. You
I
just
just
can't.
feel like everything has to go right.
It
for
does.
them.
I agree.
It does. It does. It
Like
does.
Johnny Furphy has to
Yes.
have incredible.
Nick Timberlake, what was that? What's he been? He's
don't
been
know.
nothing,
I
man.
don't know.
That's weird too, because I actually
He
really
can
like
shoot.
Nick Timberlake
He can
coming
shoot.
in.
And I would have loved him at Memphis, but like
yes.
it has not been good.
No.
All right, Christian, last one.
Nope.
Number
No, it's
10.
me. I'm last one.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gabe. Number 10, the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Oh, God. And this is just copy and paste. I don't give a damn who you are. I'm copy and pasting every year with the Nate Oates coach team. I don't really care who's on the team because he's had really good talent. I'm going to say pretender. You're not going to be able to consistently just get wide open threes, get to the, knock down or get easy layups at the rim. If you're putting up 30 threes a game, you're going to have bad.
Yeah.
You're going to have bad shooting nights. And to get 5 wins in a row in a tournament setting, just putting up that many threes and trying to get to 100 points, I just think you're leaving way too much up to chance.
Yeah.
And that's just how I feel about Alabama.
Yeah. And
you're just living and dying by the three, and then eventually, even if you have a nice run, you're going to have a team that closes out on the 3-point line that makes it hard for you, and you're just not. Those shots aren't going to drop at the same rate.
Yep. And to add to that, before we wrap this up, like, if they couldn't do it last year with that team, with Brandon Miller and all the talent that team had, then I don't think they can do it this year.
Yeah, it's just.
I agree.
I think
talent
that's.
level
I
is-
hate to say it. Nate Oates has done a good job, but he sort of is right there with.
Rick Barnes.
No,
Kinda.
and he's better coach than Penny Hardaway. I'm going to say that right now. People can hate me in the comments, but it's just a fact. It's just, come on.
Yeah.
Like, don't argue that with me. But he sort of fits in the category of, I'm going to do it my way, and I'm not going to, there's no ifs, ands, or buts.
No deviating
That's
from the system.
He does not have answers if they don't knock down 3 balls.
That's a good point.
It's fair.
I like that. All right, good job, guys. Topic number 2. You guys ready?
Yep.
A lot of UFC news coming out. Obviously, 298 was this weekend. 299 is coming up, and then 300 was announced a main event. 2 298 had some pretty cool storylines coming out of it. Danny Barlow from Memphis,
Shout
from law
out.
school.
Hell yeah,
MMA.
left hand to God.
Left hand to God, baby. Knocked out, was it Johnny Quinlan? Is that his Johnny?
It was
Jimmy.
Quinlan. It was Quinlan.
Yeah.
Just say
Quinlan.
Quinlan.
Quinlan, who has, man, the dude had hands. He had power.
Yep.
But Barlow
he
knocked
got
him out.
schlepped.
Yeah, he got schlepped. He slept in that fight. And
And he
then
broke his arm apparently earlier in that fight.
Quinlan or Barlow?
Barlow.
Did he?
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Yeah, probably so. And then obviously the main event. We saw the final or the end of a title reign by Volkanovski getting slapped by Ilya Topuria.
Yep.
Is this the Topuria era? Talk Danny Barlow, Topuria era. What do y'all think?
I want to talk about Barlow first. Did you get to watch a fight?
Yeah.
It was. I thought he stood and traded when he was asked to defend a takedown. He did that.
Yeah.
And I think it was about as good a UFC debut as you can ask
Agreed.
for. Get a knockout.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Own a guy on the feet. Be exciting. He checked all the boxes for Dana White to really probably latch onto him and love him.
Yep. The one thing I'll say on Danny Barlow before we transition to Ilya Topuria and Alexander Volkanovski is the moment didn't look too big for him.
And also, listen, and he's 28 and he's going to have more fights where this comes from, but defend a little better. There's some things around the edges to work on. But man, shout out.
But you know,
movement,
sometimes in
find
those
better angles. I
in
heard
those-
Dean Thomas talking about that, or is that his name?
Yeah, Dean Thomas.
Yeah,
yeah.
talking about it during the fight. He's like, he could knock this guy out right now if he just found better angles and used his feet offensively.
sometimes in those UFC debuts though, you see the nerves get the best, and
I didn't see that
with
even
him.
slightly. And he's, man, just quick sidebar before we get into the rest of it. It is massively fun to just have a guy from Memphis that we can root on every
For
time.
sure.
Like there's just a pride about it.
Yeah,
that you
absolutely.
Can just, every time you know he's on the card, you tune in.
Yeah.
You're rooting for him. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that part of
I mean,
it.
I felt that way about Rampage, but
Rampage.
Rampage didn't live in Memphis, right?
Right.
Like Danny Barlow is in South Memphis. He's Westwood. Like
Right.
this dude, law school MMA's here in Memphis. They are a massive crew. Shout out to the Attitude MMA guys,
Yep.
man. Like if you are a Memphis fan and you love the MMA stuff, or if you're a Memphis resident or even somewhere close, you have got to come and check out Attitude MMA fights because
Yes.
that's where Danny Barlow got to start.
That's the first card I went to at Attitude MMA. I got to see Danny Barlow in the main event.
And now they're-
knock out a dude in the first round.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
and now
Like,
they're putting dudes in the UFC. So like
they're getting noticed too over there, man. They're getting better contracts. They're getting more eyeballs on their events. It really is worth it.
It's worth
I
it
can
to
say
go.
that 100%. It's worth it.
All right, let's talk.
Let's go 299 real quick.
Okay.
Well, we gotta get to Volk real quick.
Vulcan.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
sorry.
let's
Vulcan,
hit it
yeah.
real quick, and then Kenny for talking 299 and 300. I just want you to give us we're doing this totally on the fly, but I want you to give us like a list of the fights on the two main cards, and I want to rank the top 5 for 299 and 300.
Okay, but-
okay, Volk and Ilya Topuria. Volk's one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. I love Alexander Volkanovski. He's been as game as they come, and he's been incredible. But there's something about that 35-year-old age, and you've got people talking about this
He's
now.
too active, man, for his own good.
And that's the thing. I don't think he's falling off skills-wise. I just think being 35 and being in some of the fights that he's been in, he hasn't been in a ton of wars, but it's just that back-to-back. We saw Israel Adesanya get kind of worn down from this and be like, I need to take a break. I don't think it'd be bad for Volk. He suffered that head kick loss. I think it was in October to Islam Makhachev. Bad knockout. Then he comes back in this fight, gets caught right on the button by Ilya Topuria, shuts his lights out, even though Volk won the first round. But on Ilya Topuria, he's incredible. Like he is clearly, I believe, the future of the featherweight division, because if you can beat Alexander Volkanovski, you can beat anybody in that division.
Yes, but okay. If someone can take him into the 5th round, I think Max Holloway is an interesting one.
It is because of his cardio.
Yeah, his cardio is unbelievable, and he can just keep you at bay. He can keep you on the end of punches for 5 rounds.
If Ilya makes contact,
Topuria, I swear. And I like. Here's the thing about Volk. If you're talking about his chin, I think that's fair because he's fought so many times in a row. And maybe if he would have taken 9 months off, maybe he doesn't get his lights shut out that bad. But Ilya Topuria, man, his accuracy.
Yeah.
When he finds an opening, he's taking it and he is shutting your lights out.
It's stunning
Dude's
stuff.
got hands.
Like I'm not kidding, man. Like if you go just look at his best knockouts throughout his career, it's one punch out, fall straight down, legs
out.
limp, gone.
Yep.
He is ridiculous with his pop.
Yep.
It's nuts. But I think, man, when we talk about like well-rounded strikers like Max Holloway fighting that guy,
It'd be fun.
I'm not saying Max Holloway picks him apart and like hurts him real
But
bad.
he gives him a challenge for
but
sure.
damn, man, if he can go 5 rounds with that guy, he could win a decision pretty handily, I think.
Yeah, possibly.
But Ilia Topuria is a freak.
He's legit.
what, 15-0?
Yeah,
and
27 years old.
God, he's got hands.
He's legit.
He's got pop.
Yeah.
Crazy pop.
All right, let's compare 299 and 300 main cards. Are we just doing main cards? Or
Yeah,
are we doing?
so take 299 and 300. Read both main cards,
Yes.
and I want me and Gabe to kind of rank the top fights on. We can do top 3. We'll do the top 3 fights between
'Cause,
the
hey,
2 cards.
Let me tell you something. Both of those cards, from top to bottom,
Are stacked.
Loaded.
stacked.
Yeah.
All right, so top 3 for 299.
No, for both.
No,
Oh, sorry.
no,
I got you. I got you. I
yeah,
got you.
yeah.
I see what you're saying.
All right, top 3 for 299. Kevin Holland versus Michael Venom Page.
That's gonna be a absolute banger. Sorry, Kitty, keep going.
No, I mean,
It is.
just announced it was dropped. Now it's back. Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint Denis.
Banger.
Banger. Benoit Saint Denis is a
Monster.
killer. All right. Championship fight: Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Cheeto Vera.
I like that for the.
Oh,
I like that for the.
Banger.
Yeah. I want to see Sean O'Malley avenge himself potentially.
Yeah.
all
See
right.
if it was a fluke or not. Keep going though. Keep
So
going.
the
Just let
third.
rattle these
So
off.
all right, that's the top 3. The 3. It's impossible in the 300. Like you could go all of them. Here we go. You're talking about Max Holloway fighting Ilia Topuria.
He fights
Homie's got to
Justin
get through
Gaethje.
Justin Gaethje
Banger.
in 300. It's the BMF fight. Oh God. Okay, and then Zhang Wei Li versus Yan Xiaonan.
Okay.
I like Zhang. She might be one of my favorite fighters to watch. I love Zhang Wei Li. Main card or the title fight is Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill.
I think I don't even think you listed possibly the best fight between the 2 cards, which is Charles Oliveira versus Arman Sarukian.
Oh my God.
That's
all
a
right.
banger. All right, between those 6 fights, what's your top 3, Gabe?
Okay. Just because I love Kevin Holland, let me put Holland and Michael Venom Page in there because I know they're just going to be fucking.
That is going to be
Yeah.
wild.
It'll be a war.
Yeah.
It may be done in the first round, but they're going to go
Yeah,
to war
it's gonna be
for
good.
one round. I'll go with.
All right, but okay.
I'll go with
give me a
Oliveira,
winner.
Sarukian, and 2.
Okay.
Give me a
For
winner.
2. Oh wait, we'll do that. We'll have time to get that
Okay,
done.
okay.
And then number 1, just for the entertainment value and avenging a loss, give me Cheeto and O'Malley at the top.
Wow. Those are your top 3?
Yeah, give me Cheeto and O'Malley.
Christian, what's your top
I really
3?
want to put Kevin Holland in MVP in there, but
I had to.
I won't
because
he
I'm a big Kevin Holland fan.
Yeah, I am too. I love Kevin Holland, but I'll go.
But I hate leaving out. Damn.
Yeah, Gaethje
Gaethje
Holloway is my number 1.
That's so
What are y'all
nasty
talking
for me to
about?
leave
Number
out,
one.
honestly. But
Gaethje
I'm
and
going to do
Holloway
it.
is
I'm
my
gonna do it.
favorite.
I have to leave that out, just even
Yeah.
though I'm going to love it.
Yeah, that's my number 1. That's my number 1. Gaethje Holloway. 2, Charlie Olives and Sarukian, and 3 is Cheeto Vera and Sean O'Malley.
Okay.
Nobody's saying Jamal Hill and Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close.
Well,
it's really close.
Here's my thing about the light heavyweight division in general. If we have Alex Pereira win another fight and he's sort of holding that belt, we can have more entertainment value, name recognition value.
Light heavyweight
to
kind of
that.
has to build
Light
up to
heavyweight
it
is sort of at the ground level
That's
right
true.
now. Just
All
let
right,
it build.
We have the same 3 fights. Pick the winners. I'm gonna go. O'Malley beats Cheeto, gets the revenge. I'm gonna go Sarukian.
I'm going.
No
Page.
way. No way.
Sarukian beats Charles Oliveira.
I'm going Page, Oliveira, and
Gaethje.
And I didn't put Gaethje in that in mine.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But I'm gonna go Page over Holland, Oliveira over Sarukian, and I'm gonna go my third fight.
O'Malley?
It was Cheeto and O'Malley. I'm gonna go O'Malley.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Gaethje for Gaethje Holloway.
Yeah, but we have some great fights.
No, dude.
I was
banger.
surprised as hell that we had Jamal Hill getting the nod for
Yeah.
Pereira.
But it's gonna be a good fight.
I mean, with all the stuff he's the law trouble,
right? But
he's
those
going
are
through.
two exciting fighters. It's gonna be a good fight. I will be interested to see how Jamal Hill comes back from the Achilles, his first fight back from injury, but we shall see.
It's going to be a fun one. All right, topic number 3. You guys ready? Let's go local Memphis Grizzlies. Obviously, it's All-Star break, so there's not a whole lot going on with the Grizzlies, but the Grizzlies had gone on a 9-game losing streak, boys.
They won 2 straight.
Not
It was a
too
rough
shabby.
one. Not good. But I think a lot of folks a lot of Memphis fans, and rightfully so, are just like, hey, man,
Get to the positivity,
Vince-
though, before we got to
Vince-
All-Star break.
Vince and Gigi are still continuing to develop, and then they come out and they win. Who did they beat the first game?
The Rockets.
The
The
Rockets.
Rockets.
They came back. Dylan Brooks came back, and they beat the Rockets, which was a blast.
Dylan Brooks, by the way, perfect Dylan Brooks game.
Perfect
5
Dylan
for
Brooks.
17 from the field.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Houston fans are starting to see what Memphis fans have been feeling for the last few years. Like, it's pretty crazy. And then they came back, and the G League team, the G League Ignite team from the Memphis Grizzlies came out, and they took on Giannis Antetokounmpo and Dame Lillard, and they beat the brakes off of them.
Yeah, well, 113, 110.
Whatever.
Beat the brakes is a
That's a
little
little
overstated,
excessive.
buddy.
You take that.
You,
You take that.
you adjust it for talent. though, and
Exactly.
beat
There's
the
a,
brakes
there's, a,
off.
there's a
Yeah.
scale. There's a scale to it. That 3 points is more like 10.
So really, what we're getting down to, though, I think the rest of this season, and I obviously inside baseball, we talk about these things before we actually, are in our pre-show meeting.
no,
But
we
Kenny-
don't. This is all a surprise.
Kenny wants to bring it up. Gigi Jackson and Vince Williams Jr.
Yeah, man.
ceilings and what they could be next year. I think Vince Williams Jr. has already put himself in 6-man territory, if not starting. If Marcus Smart
Yeah.
does not look great with the starting lineup, like that's who he is, and I think he brings all the best qualities that Dylan Brooks had without the bad qualities
Right.
of taking too many shots and being demonstrative and all these issues. He's still demonstrative, but he doesn't get a whole lot of technicals. I love Vince Williams Jr. as 6th, 7th guy.
Yeah,
If
and you know-
not sliding into that starting lineup, because I think he would fit
Right.
tremendously.
And you
next to
know
those
why?
guys.
Because he does everything well.
He rebounds well. He can knock
he
down a
passes
3 ball.
well.
He passes. We're literally, when we come back from the All-Star break, we're talking about Vince Williams Jr. triple-double
Trip
watch.
dubs. Yeah.
That's where he's there.
What
he's
was
close.
what was the Bucks game? 18, 12, and 7?
18, 12, and 7.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's on trip dub watch. now.
Yes. And he didn't even make a 3
Yeah, no.
in that game.
I know.
I mean, it's funny because everybody asks, there's been questions about him. First, it's oh, he's got the defense. Can he play offense? Okay, he can play offense. What about the 3 ball? Knocks down the 3 ball.
Yep.
Well, what about getting his teammates involved? Now he's getting his teammates
Yep.
involved. He's the last 6 games for the All-Star break averaged 7.4 assists per game. So, man, you just got to tip the cap and stop denying this guy. It's
Right.
very clear. He's making himself undeniable.
Yep. And then on the flip side of that, Gigi Jackson, and this one's honestly, Gabe, this one's been really interesting because when he first started playing and he had some decent games, we were like, pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Extreme pump the brakes.
Absolutely.
But we've seen consistency now.
Yes.
And with how young Gigi is, let's not lie. He is oozing with potential.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oozing with potential.
Here's my thing, though.
And he's
Here's
so young and so talented, and I still don't think we can get carried away.
yeah.
but
I'm not there.
but it's fun to look at it and say, 19, 20. What is he? How does he develop?
Here's my thing. Remember when I talked about the difference of if he'll develop into what we want him to develop in, if he will develop into what we want him to develop into,
Yeah.
or when he develops into what we want him to develop into.
Yeah.
I'm on the win side now.
Yeah.
I'm no longer if. I think this guy, 19, going to be 20 by the time we get into next year, still a young 20 at that point.
Right.
Won't have a legal beer till 2025. He's shooting, I think over the last 8 games going into the All-Star break, 50% from 3. I think those come down a little bit.
Of course.
But when he's open from the 3-point line, he's great. He's doing a lot of these things within the flow of an offense. He gives effort on the defensive end. He had 3 blocks, I think, against the Rockets.
Yeah.
And he's had multiple games where he got to 27 points.
Including in that Bucks game.
You gotta get hyped up about it. You
Yeah.
gotta be hyped up about what he could become. And I have a comp that I want to just throw your way.
Do it.
Throw your way. And I'm not gonna say
I like comps. Let's do
I'm not
this.
gonna say that this is the highest he can get to, because maybe he could get higher. He's 19 years old. Who the hell knows? And really, we're only scratching the surface of what he could become.
Yeah.
I said for this team, if he could become their Michael Porter Jr., that would be pretty phenomenal. And he's putting up 10 threes in that game against the Bucks. He's a really solid offensive player with a good offensive bag. He's long. He's athletic.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Rebound
I had
a
another
little
comp.
bit.
I had another comp that someone sent to me.
What you got?
After the Bucks game, a friend of mine texted me and said he gets glimpses of an early Jeff Green out of G.G. Jackson. Early in his career, Jeff Green.
That's all we're doing. Why are we gonna?
Yeah,
just Jeff Green.
Jeff Green. Let's not forget.
I mean, Jeff Green was.
Let's not forget.
solid,
No,
but-
I
Boston
liked it.
Celtics Jeff Green before the Hart
I mean,
situation
damn.
was
I'm
good.
trying
was
to
good, but-
get to like a aspirational place.
Well, no, I feel you. I
Like
said
if
Paul.
GJ
I said Paul
I'm
George.
not gonna lie. I think
Did you hear him?
Paul George is nuts. Literally, Kenny, you can admit this. People that are listening to this and are Grizzlies fans, and they're like, okay, the aspirational height for him is Jeff
Green.
Green.
Hey,
They're like,
listen.
What?
Listen.
Yeah.
Let's be more fun than that.
Okay.
Lifetime bench player. Like, what the hell? Come on. I get it because he has all like he has tools.
Right.
And Jeff Green always had tools, but Jeff Green was never like,
Jeff Green was awesome back in the day. But I feel you. It's like saying JaMychal Green,
I think,
right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, man. Like, I know.
and here's
I'm
the crazy
I'm
part.
good on that.
Here's the crazy part
I
for
think
the Grizzlies.
if G.G. Jackson only became Jeff Green, people would be slightly disappointed, if
Yeah.
not very
Not for this Grizzlies team. Here's the crazy part. The Grizzlies have signed both of them. They both came into on a two-way contract this year with the G League, with the Hustle. And now the Grizzlies have signed both of them to roster spots.
Yep. For cheap.
Next year, John Conchar will be making $2 million more than Vince Williams and G.G. Jackson combined.
You want to hear my favorite stat? Next year, between Marcus Smart, Vince Williams Jr., and G.G. Jackson, they'll be making $23 million.
Yeah.
What does Dylan Brooks make next year? $22 million.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's worth it. It was worth it.
I don't know. Well, we'll see if it is fully worth it. But
mean,
I think it looks like
yeah,
it.
it definitely
looks
does.
pretty damn good.
I mean,
it's
can-
aging pretty well.
Can you imagine next year when everybody's healthy, bringing out Vince Williams, Marcus Smart, and Jaren Jackson Jr. on the defensive end?
No, that's nuts. It's terrifying. It's terrifying for other
sure.
teams.
All right, boys. Good episode today.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
Great. It's great.
All right. We appreciate you guys for joining us this week. If you're watching on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, and comment there. If you're listening wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever else, you can like, subscribe, comment there as well. We appreciate you guys so much joining us, hanging out with us every week, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On the Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.